Welcome to another episode of the Everyday Hero Show, where I interview someone in your life or someone in my life that makes us smile but does not get the credit that they deserve. Today, I am lucky, I am honored to have on the show Knives Monroe. Please welcome. Thank you for doing this. Tell me and the people, who are you and why filmmaking?
My name is Knives Monroe. I've been a filmmaker for 13 years. I love dream language. I love being able to take abstract concepts and make people feel something. You know what I mean? And I also, there's a big thing about it to me as well. You know what I mean? I want to be one of the guys. I want to be one of the greatest filmmakers out there. There's heroes that I have, guys out there that everybody knows, like Steven Spielberg, Quentin Tarantino. I look at those guys like my dads, because I never had a father growing up. You know what I mean? I never had a dad teach me how to drive or to be polite or anything like that. But, all these filmmakers, all these coaches, entrepreneurs out there, people that I look up to and respect, they're dads to me. And I want to be that guy, 16-year-old out there somewhere in the world.
That's quite the reason to do it, and that's amazing. I have to ask, so when did you start? Like, when did you know filmmaking was for you? When did that happen?
That's a great question. I always get chills every time I get asked that. I was 16 years old. My mom rented me a VHS. That's how old I am, of the movie Kill Bill. And it was just in the first 3 minutes of the movie. As soon as Uma Thurman's character gets shot in the head, she says, "Bill, it's your baby." Boom. She gets shot in the head in the first 3 minutes of the movie. And it cuts to a title card that says, "The fourth film by Quentin Tarantino." And in that moment, I got chills again. In that moment, it felt like a lightning bolt came from the other side of the universe and hit me in the head. And I realized, it was like I activated, and I realized, oh shit, I'm a filmmaker. That's what I am. That's how I want to make people feel. That's why I'm weird. That's why I worship movies. And I never really knew it was something that you could do really until that moment. This is huge social networks. This is pre-YouTube, pre-high-speed internet almost. So, it was very analog at the time. But in that moment, I realized, holy fucking shit, I'm a filmmaker.
That's great. So did you just, like, when you figured out that's what you wanted to do, did you just jump right in, nosedive? Or was it, I love this, let me watch a million movies, and then let's see what that happens?
Great question. So in that lightning bolt that hit me in my head, a bunch of things at once. One main thing was I saw the road ahead, and I realized, oh shit, this is going to take 20 years to get there, right? To get to Kill Bill. It's going to take 20 years. So like this big burden, but it also came this big adrenaline rush of, holy fuck, this is going to be an adventure. So I went to the books. I worked at a Church's Chicken when I was 16 years old. My first paycheck, I gave $100 to my mom, and with the scraps, I bought this book called Screenwriting for Dummies. I started going to the library, reading scripts, doing research, absorbing. Summer of 2004, I probably saw 1,400 movies on VHS. I would take home just boxes, feet and feet of VHSs, and I would watch everything that I could. And it took years for me to find my voice, but I would film things all the time. Technology has caught up to the point where you and I can do something like this. This wasn't even fathomable, 13 years ago. This right here would have cost $75,000 to do technology-wise, So yeah. Technology finally caught up with my ambition, and now we're at a place right now where we can document versus create. Well, now we can connect with, thousands of people in an hour, all this stuff. Information is readily available. So I think it's time ever to be a filmmaker today.
See, that's amazing. So I love that you said that, because that gets us to today, right? That's where we are right now. You said the technology, we are capable of doing this thing, which you just said would cost us thousands of dollars, maybe 10, even 6-7 years ago. So saying that everyone has, access to all this technology now, so making it so much easier, how difficult is it? I don't want to say to break through, but how difficult is it for you to stand out? Because filmmaking is a very difficult thing.
Sure. Great question. Just give me a moment to kind of explain it. I don't want to go through the history of film, but let's talk about the last 25 years.
One second. I'm sorry.
Sure thing.
No, not on me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry, man. That's life.
Yeah.
That right there is what filmmaking is all about. It's a mistakest art form. You know, if that was my movie, that would have made the movie, because that just made you look like a real human being. So I love it, man. And I don't want to go on a big rant or anything, but, you know, let's look at the last 25 years of filmmaking. In the early 1990s, it was about independent filmmaking. You know, if you were lucky, you would sell a script. If you were lucky, you would get into a film festival. If you were lucky, you'd become one of the guys. You'd be able to make studio films. That's not the way it is today. Flash forward 10 years later, it was about making a pilot, shopping a pilot around. Maybe you would get it to show it to a network, and maybe you can make a series. Now you can go out there and actually make your TV series yourself, put it out there on iTunes, Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, what have you. Right now, 2017, I think a lot of people are seduced in that it's about the calling card. It's about making a movie that's going to get you a lot of attention. It's going to get you the fast cash. It's going to be the thing that puts you over, that's going to get you all the attention. And then that's going to be the thing that Hollywood's going to be like, oh, this guy has what it takes, or this girl has what it takes. Now let's let them make Godzilla 2. I don't think that's where we're at today. I actually think it's easier now than ever to stand out. I actually think it's easier now because there's an environment where there's niches for everything. Like even what you're doing right now, there's a niche for it, and people love it. I love it. I got attracted to it. You know, we got connected, you know, because of a niche that people aren't really, that's not mainstream. You know what I mean? So I think it's easier now to stand out than ever. And also with this technology, I think it's easier to make a movie now than ever. It just comes down to quite frankly, a recurring theme, I think, between our lives, doing the work.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, that's awesome. It sounds like you understand what your culture of filmmaking is, and then you also understand what is needed from you, like what kind of work you have to do to get there. So, yes, sir. Big picture, I think we've covered a good amount of the big picture stuff. Let's start talking about Knives Monroe. What work have you done, and what's the big plan, or what are you working on currently? Well, if you're allowed to say.
I love to talk. No secrets. I'm all about transparency. You know, growing up, you know, I would do little things like little short films and stuff. You know, pre-YouTube, I would record them on videotape, edit them on 2 VCRs with 2 TVs. All that stuff. That's awesome. Whatever technology I had readily available at that time. The first camera that I bought from QVC, which is like a telemarketing thing. It was a 5 megapixel camera, which now anybody's smartphone is superior than. I put some backyard wrestling stuff with, you know, me hitting my friends in the head with steel chairs, things like that. That was very cinematic to me. I did that and basically graduated to DSLRs, and now I'm on a big kick of iPhone filmmaking. So what have I done? I've made 3 feature films. My first one's called Her Doppelganger. I was fortunate enough, you know, through Facebook advertising in 2012, 5 years ago, I sold out a local movie theater in my hometown. That was 400 people. They saw it. You know, quite frankly, my crowning achievement is my grandma and my mom. Well, that's my crowning achievement. I'll never be richer than that moment.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know, 2 years later, I made my second feature film called The Seven Hands of God. That trailer is out there somewhere. 2015, I made my third feature film entitled Dogma 15. And, you know, I'm working on a 10-episode series that I want to give for free on Facebook Live, you know, like Thursdays at 9 p.m. or whatever it's going to be. And, you know, it's about feminism, and it's about a war between women. It's really fucking fun and epic and violent and sexy and awesome and cool. It's my Kill Bill. And that's what I'm working on right now. I need a budget of about 10 grand to pull that off. But let me just say this, because I think this is really interesting. You know, my first film, like I said, I sold it out to 400 people. You can find it right now on YouTube. It's okay at best. The truth is it has about 5,000 views. I've never promoted it. But I could go on a Facebook Live, go into a filmmaking group page, do something like you're doing right now, which is incredibly valuable, for 1 hour, and it'll get 5,000 views in a day. So we live in a crazy time right now where if you find connected? Are we still connected? I had to turn off a phone call. I apologize. We live in a time right now. Thank you, sir. We live in a time right now where if you find your platform, if you find your, you know, your funnel, do work there, and you get a lot of, you know, attention. Right? It's an attention thing going on right now.
Yes.
And it's just weird to me how you could spend 2 years on a movie views on YouTube, 2 years of work, pain, struggle, sacrifice. But you can do an hour spit fire her on YouTube and get 5,000 views. I mean, that's wild to me. So that's kind of what I'm doing as well. I'm fanning those flames. I believe in doing more of what works. So you know, if you look at a guy like that we both mutually respect, a guy like Gary Vee, who gets paid, you know, 6 figures to go out there and do a talk. I don't have that amount of leverage. You know, I do have respect and I have something to say and offer, but I can go into a group page and take Q&A and basically do my own version of a keynote, very practical, yes, and get a lot of attention and be able to give a lot of people without the expectation of anything in return. I believe in, for the rest of my life, making movies for free, not asking for anything. As long as people know my name, that's more valuable to me than paying my bills off of filmmaking. I got a day job. I work for the man. I can pay for my kids' food, the clothes on their back. That's all that really matters. I'm doing art because I love it, because I want to be the guy, like I said, 20 years from now. I want a 16-year-old kid 20 years from now to say, Knives Monroe is my motherfucking dad.
Good for you. So what I'm really finding out about you, and what I'm actually like loving, is that you understand, you know what's going on. Like, you want to do Facebook Live, you want to do like free movies, you want to get the content out there. You know, if you're doing what works, I like that, because you're on the ground and you have your ear to the streets. Like, you know what's going on, but at the same time, you have that big picture, like 10, 20, 50 years from now, this is my legacy. I love that. And it's not like it's one's overdoing the other. You're practical, but at the same time, there's a very big picture goal. And I just appreciate that. I just appreciate that from anyone doing anything. So do you have, I know you said the series, the TV show, the Facebook Live thing that you're working on currently is going to be, you said, about feminism. Like, what genre of movie is it, TV show would that be?
You know, for most people out there, the way I would sell it is action. You know, it's action. But for me, I had to make my own genre. This is very pretentious, but filmmakers are very pretentious. I call it melodramatic anti-drama, because it's simultaneously very big and operatic, but very not about drama, very not about plot. It's really just about feelings, you know, quite frankly. But I'm working on that. I want to make movies every day, every month, every year. I'm documenting that journey as well, putting stuff out on YouTube. So I'm always creating, which as a filmmaker, we live in a time where 20 years ago, Quentin Tarantino couldn't make movies every day. You know, David Fincher, Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, George Lucas, J.J. Abrams, they couldn't make movies every day, but you and I can.
Yes.
So we can get really, really good, and those guys are really good, making one movie every 4 years. We can get even better. I believe that. So I'm documenting, you know, my journey as well. But, you know, I write stuff all the time. I want to make stuff. It's very accessible. I live in Austin, Texas, so there's a lot of opportunity here, you know. So I'm always going to be making stuff, getting my brand out there, my personal brand. So when Knives Monroe drops a movie on Facebook Live, people shut the fuck up and pay attention.
Good.
You know what I mean? That's the point. Yes,
so like, now I want to get real practical, because I actually do want to help people out, right? I'm calling you an everyday hero because you're doing what you believe in, what you want to do. And like you said, you want to be, you want to ignite someone else, younger, any human being who wants to be a filmmaker, you want to inspire them. So let's get a little practical. Break this down to the ignorant, just fan of movies. What is the difference between like a filmmaker, a director, a producer? Like, all of those names for me all sound like they do all the same thing. What is the difference?
I've had to wear all the hats. You know, my first film, I paid a filmmaker, big air quotes, filmmaker, $500, which was a fortune to me at the time. I paid a cinematographer, basically a cameraman, $500. They took my money and they ran, you know, so I had to film my movie myself. You can teach yourself how to do that. So a cinematographer, by and large, you know, a director of photography, you know, they're the ones that paint the picture, right? The whole game is a manipulation of light. You put light, you know, in a certain way. You stage it like a theater show, and you make an image, present a certain effect that makes a person feel something all unconsciously. You have actors, everybody, you know, knows the subjects in front of the camera. You have the director who's calling all the shots. I like to akin directors as the coaches of a football team. We bring the game plan, but at the same time, you know, the actors are the quarterbacks and the front linemen, and they're the ones that are in the dirt, but the coach is calling the shots. You know, it's like a chess game. That's what a director does as well. A producer is the one that's putting the money there, you know, and saying like, hey, you guys, have 6 hours to film here because I already did that work. That's what a producer does. An editor takes all the footage and puts it together, and actually it's like the final draft of a script. That's where you actually start telling the story. You know, you have your sound people. Everybody's, quite frankly, no matter if you want to be a filmmaker and you're starting from scratch and you got nothing, this is a medium about people. You have to know how to talk to people and over communicate your ideas and your visions to each department, wardrobe, and what that means for the character, the actor, and what they need, because they're very, very vulnerable people. They're not cool and sexy all the time. You got to get them there and get them into that state, and you have to know that, breathe that, live that yourself as well. Producers, you have to negotiate, like, you know, making 10 cents into $1, you know what I mean? Like stretching your money, things like that. So really, I believe it's all about repetition, right? Tony Robbins says repetition is the mother of all skill, and I believe that. So the more you do, the more you fail, the better you're going to get. Everybody wants the right decision, but they're too scared that they're going to make the wrong decision, so they make no decision, but that's a decision. It's like, out there.
I like that.
Go out there and fuck up, and don't be afraid, and fuck up spectacularly in front of everybody. Just document yourself doing it, flip it on YouTube, you know, and then, you know, you learn something, you know, you win some, you learn some. So I think it's a mistake. It's art form. It's about reps, doing. Start small, start, you know, where you are with what you have, you know, with the very little resources that you have. It's more about resourcefulness than resources. We're problem solvers, filmmakers.
Yeah, so I loved when you said that filmmaking is more about like communication, because I never heard that before, right? I always thought, like, you know, my picture of a director or a filmmaker is they sitting in that nice chair yelling, no, do this. But when you say, like, no, you have to convey what you believe, that makes it artful. That's the difference between, like, I'm directing you, telling you what to do, to this is an art form and I'm trying to convey a feeling and emotion, like a scene. It's kind of beautiful. You said it quite beautifully. I love that. So let's talk about today's films. Favorite. So do you have, I know you said you keep mentioning, you said Steven Spielberg. He sounds like your favorite. He's your favorite?
He's not my favorite, but he's the one that everybody knows his name.
Okay,
that's why I mentioned him.
Of course.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite director? Do you have a favorite movie? Do you have a favorite genre? Like, let's talk about what you like in today's film out the Hollywood scene.
That's fun. You know, it's so weird. Like, it's not even a Hollywood scene anymore. I really feel like, you know, I'll go back to the Facebook Live thing. I'll answer your question, but big directors start coming into Facebook and dropping movies on Facebook Live. Everybody's going to start doing it. I think now's the time to do it while it's underpriced attention, so to speak. So the game is weird because right now the ecosystem, it's just like Marvel films and big things like that. Those don't really, maybe I'm too old for that. You know what I mean? I enjoyed that Batman movie that came out recently. I had quite a bit of fun. But new stuff that's coming out, I'm fortunate that I live in a very hippie town, Austin, where they show a lot of art shit, you know, like Moonlight, they showed it here for months. Like, you know, where I lived previously, I could have never been able to have that opportunity to watch it. So my favorite movie is a Jim Carrey film called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I think that movie is 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, just perfect. It has Kate Winslet, Elijah Wood, Mark Ruffalo. That's probably my favorite movie. My favorite director is a Danish filmmaker called Lars von Trier, who creates like the craziest, scariest, darkest, sexiest, like just horrifying films. I don't know, they're a trip. I can't even talk about them because it's like rated X, like his films are gnarly. But like my favorite genre, I love movies that, quite frankly, this is a weird answer, but I don't think these things have a genre, but do you remember Jackass? Like when Johnny Knoxville?
Of course.
I love that kind of filmmaking where it's like, is this real? But this is choreographed, but this is staged, but this is a documentary, but it's not. But it's just about like living people. I love that kind of stuff. I love, you know, like, I don't want to say mockumentaries, but things that are just like fiction with nonfiction. I love that stuff. Whatever genre that is. That's like, it feels so in the moment and real and alive.
Oh, good for you. And so you're heavy. You sound like you're heavy on this Facebook Live grind, right?
I am.
So let's talk about this new place that we are in right now. Facebook Live, Instagram is blowing up with videos. Like it went from like you'd see a video every 2 to 3, 10, 15 swipes to now it's every 2 to 3 things is a video. So tell me, do you see Facebook Live, Instagram taking over? It's already our social media life, but taking over filmmaking as a whole. Is that ever a possibility?
Yes, Facebook is kind of scary in that there is no ceiling that Facebook can hit. I feel like Netflix's biggest opponent would be Facebook. If Facebook just opened a tab, because now they're doing Instagram stories and Facebook stories, which just completely stole Snapchat's features. If Facebook just created a tab that stole Netflix features and you could upload your film into a genre that anybody can just readily watch, that destroys the film industry forever. So it's very fucking exciting. That's why I think today in 2017, April 2017, I think it's the most exciting. We're on a bleeding edge. Like we're on the edge of a frontier right now of filmmaking. We don't know where it's going to go, but I do know, I'll tell you something that is important to me. I don't want to make money off of my series. I don't want to be like, I don't feel like I've earned asking anybody like, hey, $5 for this Blu-ray. I don't feel like I've earned that. I want to give it away for free. It's 12 hours of story. Meanwhile, I've documented my entire journey of filming the entire thing. So I flipped that on social media to bring attention to that story, to funnel into my Facebook Live when it happens. It's live. It's in the moment. It belongs to everybody. It's the conversation the next day. It's consistent. People can depend on it for 10 weeks. You know what I mean? And then it's there forever on HD, like this, there's going to be like an HD version that's out there. It's incredible. It's just a matter of time before a superhero movie does it, and then it becomes legitimate and solidified. It already is. But people are afraid because they're used to the old school way of thinking of they're going to sell something, shop it, and maybe they'll get a deal. That to me is like kind of a fantasy. You're talking about practicality. Be practical now, do this stuff now, do it on a long enough timeline. And the more we make art for this particular medium, the more we're set up and we better protect ourselves for the next thing.
That's awesome. So like, I also want to know, because do you spend any time on Instagram? Is that a place that you're thinking about? Do you see video? Because obviously there's a time limit for Instagram. You can't go as long as you want. Do you see that not as much affecting filmmaking?
I don't think time matters, to be honest. I remember when YouTube, you couldn't upload something that was more than 200 megabytes. You couldn't upload something that was more than 10 minutes. I remember when Instagram first introduced video, you couldn't upload something longer than 6 seconds, and then it was 10 seconds, and then 30, and now it's a minute. So they're adjusting stuff all the time. Instagram Live, I think, is huge as well. I have a pretty good depth there, a pretty decent following there. It's only growing. I spend a lot of time there, quite frankly, just because it's so intuitive and fun, and I like connecting with people. And you could search somebody's zip code and find people that were there, you know what I mean? And you can hit them up, DM them. There's a lot of attention there. I like it quite a bit. Truth is, I do believe in creating films natively for the platforms. I do. There's a lot of attention there. There's comments there. Add everybody, get their emails, get their phone numbers, talk to them, build relationships, know who they are, know their names, know their children's names. And like I said, you do this on a long enough timeline, then you'll earn the ask, right? Then you can earn, hey, I'm going to auction off this Blu-ray, this shirt, these, this merch. I'm going to auction off these photos that were signed, autographed. The starting bid starts at 1 cent. You put it out there on Instagram, and maybe one lucky person buys it for $45, and that's cool. You made a transaction. That's fun. But also, that in and of itself is content and creation and immediacy and just stuff that film school is not teaching anybody to do, and it's intuitive. You either have that or you don't.
That's awesome. So what would you suggest to people? Because I myself have only made one Facebook Live video. And I'll have to say the jump from making a video, having the time to go back, edit all the stuff you don't like, to making that jump into I'm ready to do a Facebook Live, I was super, super nervous at doing a Facebook Live, at an Instagram Live.
Yeah.
it's scary to put yourself out there so raw, right? What advice do you have for people to making that jump?
I'm going to give you everything. Q. Number one, I think it's something you can get better at, right? I've been vlogging for almost 10 years. So I've been doing this for quite some time. So I'm lucky. It gave me, like, YouTube and all this stuff gave me a lot of leverage. So when Facebook Live happened, I realized, oh shit, I could dominate this, you know? So practice makes permanence. I always tell people, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. But here's my best piece of advice, that if you did it or anybody that's watching your show does it, I think they're going to get a fuckload of value. Everybody has their niche, right? Maybe it's shoes, maybe it's baseball, maybe it's cooking, maybe it's, you know, even niche, more niche than that. Maybe it's like silverware. I collect these types of spoons from Louisiana, like whatever it is. Filmmaking, bowling, whatever it is. Find the Facebook group pages. There's hundreds of them. Find all of them. Introduce yourself, be respectful, do Facebook Lives in those group pages. You can save that content. You can flip that content, put that on YouTube. That's entertaining. You can flip that content, take, 30 seconds of fire, whatever you thought was like a highlight reel to you, put that on Instagram video, right? You could put that and put subtitles on it, put that on Facebook videos, put $10 of Facebook advertising behind it, direct it exactly to whom you're looking for to connect to yourself. And all this is just from one Facebook Live. And here's the kicker for me that I find very exciting. Take your 10-minute or 45-minute Facebook Live. I just did a 59-minute, 59-second Facebook Live yesterday. That was very fun. Take that audio, extrapolate it from the video, and flip it into a podcast, right? So you're working on all platforms from one performance. You can't afford not to do it. I was an elitist where I thought I was too good for Vine. I thought, you know what, that's ridiculous. It's 6 seconds, that's not real cinema, but people made millions of dollars on Vine. People paid their insurance, fed their kids, bought their kids clothes with Vine money. I should have done it. If I was as good as I thought I was, I should have done it and maximized on it. That's Facebook Live right now. I definitely recommend something that I don't see too many people talking about. Finding your niche, your audience, building those relationships in those group pages, being humble and respectful as well, dropping your value, liking everybody that liked your stuff. That was the reach that you were able to connect there. Comments on everybody's stuff, a message everybody, DM everybody, add everybody as a friend. Keep doing that, and on a long enough timeline, it doesn't take long for you to see measurable results. Whatever metrics that you gauge yourself on, I think that is the most important thing that you can do. And like I said, one performance, you can flip it on YouTube, flip it on SoundCloud, flip it on Spotify, cut it up, put it on Facebook video, Instagram video, Snapchat video. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's true. It's legit. Like that one Facebook Live video can become 100 different pieces of content on like 5-10 different platforms, which is nowadays it's like the efficiency. I mean, the amount of work that you need to, spread, it's not that much. You just have to be willing to be putting the work in. And just have the courage to make that leap. And I am myself. I am trying to get into live Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And I think it is.
You're crushing it, man. You're killing it, dude. Just keep doing it. The key is don't fucking stop. One day you're gonna break out, and it could be on your 5th year, 5 years and 11 months. And if you stop, that next month could have been it. That's just the truth, man. So don't stop. Just keep doing what you're doing. People are going to depend on you. If you automate it where you say, for example, you could do it however you'd like, but if you say Tuesdays and Thursdays I do this, I'm eventually going to wake up Tuesday morning and look forward to it.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
So the key is never stopping forever.
That's great. All right. So now we know where we are, and now we know that people can do it and how they can do it, which is great. So let's move forward, right? Netflix, as you mentioned, is just, it's taking over. Gary Vee, he says it all the time. Like, no one wants to watch regular TV. They want it on their own time, and they want it they want to binge it, right? So Netflix, like HBO live stream, whatever that streaming service is, we want all of that content when we want it, the minute we want it. Do you see that? Do you have plans on getting onto Netflix? How does that work? Or is that something that you just haven't even?
Oh, that's a very good question. You can I kind of don't I believe in putting your eggs in all the baskets that you can. There's filmmakers that make their movie and they try to flip it and they try to get leverage to get that Netflix deal. That's cool. I know filmmakers, and I mean this with all respect, but it's just the truth, where their movies blow. They stink. They suck ass, but they're on Hulu, you know? Yeah. Does that make them successful? Maybe to them, and that's great. I'm not better than them because my movie's not on Netflix or because my movie is. I truthfully believe it's about leverage and it's about attention, you know? And I think the more people know you, you know, make your movies and then send them out and, you know, use Facebook advertising, put $100 of your own money, flip shit on eBay to make that money. If for those people where that's very expensive. If your shit is good enough, you can direct those videos, those films to executives in Hollywood. So they can see it. Go to their websites. You know, everybody has a contact me. You know, take down 100 emails, cold email every single one of them, cold call every single one of them, say, hey, did you see my thing? This is what I'm about. Out of those 100 calls, you know, 2 people are actually going to, you know, maybe schedule a meeting and maybe, you know, they can put some money your way or flip your film and put it on Netflix or something. It's about connections, relationships, building that, giving that first, right? I think if you bust your ass and you're consistent and you make, you know, 8 films a year or 8 short films a year or 2 films a year, whatever, but they're quality and they're great, and you know how to direct that content into the phones of the people that are looking for it, then hit them up, find their names, and ask them what's up. That's the only way to do it.
Is this something you're planning on doing?
I'm doing it right now.
Okay, good for you. Congratulations. Good for you.
Of course.
So what about VR? Virtual reality, do you see, is that something that you have your ear, like, is that, because that's an entirely different, like, I feel like not even like maybe 5, 10, 15 years from now, like it'll start becoming like a norm, but 20, 30 years from now, like that's going to be like, that would be like life, you know?
Yeah, I agree. You know, my daughter, she's going to be 3 years old. I think her generation are going to be the pioneers that execute VR filmmaking. I think once we can put on headsets and it's like we're watching WrestleMania live, or we're watching the Super Bowl front row seats, that's when VR is going to explode, and our grandmas are going to have VR headsets. So I think sports and live entertainment is going to be the frontier with that. It's going to revolutionize everything. I have no idea what to expect about it. Right now, we're living in a golden age that we're going to look back and be like, remember when 2017, when shit was simple?
Yes.
We're going to look at it like that for sure. I do intend on making VR films. You know, when porn does VR and it's readily available, that's going to explode. People aren't going to leave their houses. You know what I mean? That's the truth. That's the truth. A lot of people are going to die from dehydration, I'm sure, once porn VR is readily available. But I look forward to that frontier. You know what I mean? I think James Cameron, it just takes one really, really incredible filmmakers like Avatar that brought 3D filmmaking back, and then everybody did it as a fast cash grab. It just takes one really, really talented artist, maybe like Drake or somebody, that drops a VR music video, and then we all got to get up on that, you know, memes in VR, and then we all have it. So I believe in like the gateway, and there's tremendous upside, and being the gateway drug for those mediums, being first is very important.
Very important. Oh, good for you. Knives, it's been an absolute pleasure. I have to do this. I do this with everybody. First of all, where do you want people to catch you? Where are you most, like, you know, putting your most energy? Give me your Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. I'll put all that stuff is going to be in the link below. Why don't you let us know?
I will, man. My favorite thing is probably my podcast. It's called Here's Everything, the Knives Monroe podcast. I just, you know, give everybody everything that I got. You know what I mean? That's only going to get bigger. Expect audio commentaries of films. My Facebook live rants are there. Facebook at Knives Monroe. Instagram at Knives Monroe. My Snapchat, it's Rebel, F as in Foxtrot, T as in Tango, W as in Whiskey, D as in Delta. Rebel FTWD is my Snapchat, which is you know, from my series Rebel from the Waist Down. So hit me up on there, man. I respond to every DM. I like speaking to everybody. I call you guys on the phone. I make videos for people. It's easier to communicate, man. But thank you very much.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so very much for this. 5 years from now, Knives, when you are the the Steven Spielberg of Facebook Live. When you are blowing shit up on Instagram, like you're the James Cameron of Instagram. You're taking over the new social media. You're changing the filmmaking game for real. And Q hits you up and says, "Can I please have another interview? Would you do me the honors?"
Man, we would do it on the grandest scale of them all. Fuck yeah, man, for sure. I'll be there.
Pleasure. Knives. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for this, and good luck to you. And I'll be checking you out. Like everybody else knows, all of that information, all of his socials, is going to be in the description below. Please follow him. Let's make this new age of filmmaking something real special. And it's going to start with people like Knives who ignite the change. All right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out more heroes on my channel. Have a good night, y'all. Thank you. Knives. Deuces.